Have you ever wondered what a virus truly is? It's a question that has intrigued scientists for centuries. These microscopic entities have been at the heart of some of the world's most significant health crises, from the common cold to the flu, and more recently, COVID-19. But what exactly is a virus? Viruses are unique in the natural world due to their ability to straddle the line between the living and the non-living. They possess characteristics of life, such as the ability to reproduce and evolve, yet lack others, such as the ability to thrive independently. This dichotomy has sparked intense debate among scientists. These tiny invaders also have a significant impact on our planet's ecosystems. They can cause diseases in both plants and animals, disrupting the natural balance and affecting biodiversity. But to truly appreciate their complexity and the role they play in our world, we need to delve deeper. To understand more, we need to delve into the intricate world of viruses. So, what exactly is a virus? An intriguing question indeed. A virus, in the realm of biology, is a tiny infectious agent that can only replicate inside the cells of living organisms. It's like a microscopic hijacker, commandeering the biological machinery of its host to reproduce. Viruses are unique entities, lying on the boundary between the living and the non-living. They are composed of genetic material, either DNA or RNA, encased in a protein coat known as a capsid. Some viruses also have an additional layer called an envelope, derived from the host cell's membrane. What sets viruses apart is their size and simplicity. They are much smaller than cells, often so tiny that they can only be seen under an electron microscope. Their structure is also far less complex than that of a cell. A virus doesn't have a cellular structure, no organelles, no cytoplasm. It's essentially a package of genetic material. But don't let their simplicity fool you. Viruses are incredibly diverse, with a wide range of shapes and sizes. Some resemble spiky balls, others look like rods, and still others have complex, multi-sided shapes. Their genetic material can be single-stranded or double-stranded, linear or circular, segmented or non-segmented. And here's another interesting fact. Viruses are specific about their hosts. They aren't universal parasites. A virus that infects a bacterium, for example, wouldn't be able to infect a human cell. This host specificity is determined by the interaction between the virus and its host cell's receptors. Finally, let's touch on the life cycle of a virus. It involves stages like attachment, penetration, replication, assembly, and release. But remember, all of this happens inside a host cell. Outside a cell, a virus is inert, like a seed waiting for the right conditions to sprout. Now that we have a basic understanding of what a virus is, let's look at some examples. We'll explore more about how they cause diseases in plants and animals, and why they're such an important topic in biology and medicine. So, stick around for more intriguing insights. Viruses come in all shapes and sizes. They are microscopic invaders, causing a multitude of diseases that affect our lives in various ways. Let's delve into some examples to better understand their diversity and impact. First, we have the influenza virus, responsible for the common flu. It's a spherical virus that changes its genetic makeup often, making it difficult for our immune system to recognize and fight. This is why we need a new flu shot every year. Next, there's the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, which attacks the immune system. This virus is especially sinister because it directly targets the body's defense cells, eventually leading to acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, or AIDS, a condition in which the body can no longer fight off infections and diseases. Then we have the infamous Ebola virus. Characterized by severe bleeding and organ failure, Ebola is one of the deadliest viruses known to mankind. It's transmitted through direct contact with blood or body fluids of an infected person, making it highly contagious. Turning our attention to the plant kingdom, we find the cassava mosaic virus. This virus causes distortion and discoloration in cassava leaves, leading to significant yield losses. It's primarily transmitted by whiteflies and through the use of infected cuttings for propagation. Lastly, let's look at the coronavirus, specifically SARS-CoV-2, which has caused the global pandemic we know as COVID-19. This virus primarily spreads through respiratory droplets and has a wide range of symptoms, from fever and cough to loss of taste and smell. Its rapid spread and severe impact on human health have underscored the importance of understanding viruses. These examples only scratch the surface of the vast world of viruses. Each virus has its unique characteristics and impact on its host. Whether they're causing a mild seasonal flu or a global pandemic, viruses are an integral part of our biological world. These examples help us understand the diversity and impact of viruses, and remember, understanding is the first step in finding ways to protect ourselves and our world from these microscopic invaders. The question remains, are viruses living or non-living entities? This question has sparked a great deal of debate within the scientific community. Let's delve into some of the reasons behind this intriguing conundrum. Firstly, those who argue that viruses are alive point to their ability to replicate. Yes, viruses can multiply, but not by themselves. They need a host cell to do so. When a virus infects a cell, it takes over the cell's machinery to create copies of itself. This process, known as replication, is a basic characteristic of life. Most living organisms, from bacteria to humans, reproduce in one way or another. So, the fact that viruses can replicate, albeit with some help, makes a strong argument for them being living entities. But wait, there's more. Viruses also possess genetic material. They carry either DNA or RNA, just like other living organisms. This genetic material is essential for viruses to instruct the host cell to produce more viruses. Now, let's flip the coin and look at why some scientists consider viruses as non-living entities. Viruses lack the ability to carry out metabolic processes. In simple terms, they don't eat, breathe, or excrete waste. Metabolism is a fundamental characteristic of life. It involves a series of chemical reactions that enable an organism to maintain its living state. Since viruses can't perform these functions, they are often classified as non-living. Furthermore, viruses can't respond to environmental changes, another crucial trait of living organisms. They can't move towards a source of food or away from danger. Viruses are completely dependent on their host to survive and replicate. Lastly, viruses lack cellular structure. Unlike cells, viruses don't have a nucleus or other cellular components. They are simply composed of a protein coat, known as a capsid, which encloses their genetic material. This lack of cellularity further supports the argument for viruses being non-living. As you can see, the question of whether viruses are living or non-living is not a simple one to answer. It's a bit like asking if a car is alive. A car can move and use fuel, but it can't reproduce or respond to its environment. Like a car, a virus has characteristics that mimic life, but it also lacks key traits that define living organisms. While the debate continues, one thing is clear. Viruses have a profound impact on life as we know it. Whether we consider them living or non-living, viruses are fascinating entities that continue to challenge our understanding of life. They remind us that life is a complex and diverse phenomenon, full of surprises and mysteries yet to be unraveled. Plants, just like animals, can fall victim to viruses. One such example is the cassava mosaic virus, a notorious plant disease that's been causing agricultural setbacks for decades. Cassava is a root vegetable that serves as a primary food source for millions of people worldwide. But when infected with the cassava mosaic virus, the plant's growth is stunted, and its leaves display a patchy, mosaic-like pattern, hence the name. The yield is significantly reduced, leading to food shortages and economic instability in regions heavily reliant on cassava. Now you may wonder, how does a plant contract a virus? Unlike humans, plants don't sneeze or shake hands, right? True, but they do have their own means of viral transmission. The cassava mosaic virus, for instance, primarily spreads through whiteflies. These tiny insects feed on the sap of cassava plants, inadvertently picking up the virus and transporting it to other plants as they go about their daily activities. Another way the virus spreads is through the use of infected cuttings for propagation, a common practice in cassava farming. Now, onto the all-important question, how do we prevent this? It's a tough battle, but not an impossible one. One method is through the use of virus-free cuttings for planting. This involves careful selection and testing of cuttings to ensure they are not infected. Another approach is to control the population of whiteflies. This can be achieved through the use of insecticides or by introducing natural predators into the environment. Additionally, intercropping with other plants that repel whiteflies can also be effective. Furthermore, scientists are continually exploring ways to develop cassava varieties that are resistant to the virus. This involves breeding programs and genetic engineering techniques to create plants that can withstand the virus's effects. And lastly, education plays a crucial role. Farmers need to be aware of the symptoms of cassava mosaic disease and the ways to prevent it. They should know the importance of using clean cuttings and controlling whitefly populations. In conclusion, while viruses may seem like invisible enemies, they can cause visible and tangible damage, especially in the agricultural sector. The cassava mosaic virus is just one example of how a tiny particle can lead to significant problems. But with the right strategies and ongoing research, we can fight back against these microscopic foes. As we can see, viruses can have a devastating effect on plant life, but it's not all doom and gloom. By understanding the nature of these viruses and how they work, we equip ourselves with the knowledge needed to mitigate their effects and protect our precious plant resources. Unfortunately, animals are not immune to the effects of viruses either. Just like us, animals too fall prey to a variety of viral diseases. These viruses are not only capable of causing severe illness, but can sometimes even lead to death. Let's take a closer look at a few examples. First up is HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus. This virus attacks the body's immune system, specifically the CD4 cells, which help the immune system fight off infections. Symptoms can vary, but often include fever, fatigue, and weight loss. HIV is primarily transmitted through sexual contact, sharing of needles, or from mother to child during birth or breastfeeding. The best way to prevent HIV is through safe practices such as using condoms during sexual intercourse and not sharing needles. Next, we have Ebola, a virus that causes severe bleeding, organ failure, and can lead to death. Initial symptoms include fever, severe headache, and muscle pain, followed by vomiting, diarrhea, and unexplained bleeding or bruising. Ebola is transmitted through direct contact with blood or body fluids of a person who is sick with or has died from Ebola. Prevention includes avoiding contact with infected individuals and practicing good hygiene and infection control procedures. On to hepatitis B, a serious liver infection caused by the hepatitis B virus. Symptoms include yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, extreme fatigue, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. The virus is spread when blood, semen, or other body fluid infected with the hepatitis B virus enters the body of a person who is not infected. Vaccination is the most effective way to prevent hepatitis B. Lastly, we'll discuss COVID-19 caused by the novel coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2. Symptoms range from mild to severe and can include fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. The virus spreads mainly from person to person, primarily through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. Preventive measures include wearing masks, maintaining physical distance, and washing hands regularly. It's important to note that while these viruses primarily affect humans, they can also affect a range of other animals. For instance, certain strains of the avian influenza virus can cause disease in birds, and the canine parvovirus can cause severe illness in dogs. The impact of these viruses on animal health is significant. They can cause widespread illness, lead to decreases in population size, and even result in extinctions in some cases. However, through research and ongoing efforts, we are continually developing new strategies to prevent and treat these diseases, thereby protecting not only our health, but the health of our animal friends as well. These examples highlight the significant impact viruses have on animal health and populations. Viruses are fascinating, aren't they? This amazing world of minuscule entities that toe the line between the living and non-living, exerting such a profound impact on life as we know it. We started our exploration by defining what a virus is. Remember, a virus is a tiny infectious agent that can only replicate within the cells of living organisms. They're so small that they can't be seen by the naked eye, but they're powerful enough to cause havoc on a global scale. We then looked at some examples of viruses, from the common cold to the devastating HIV, Ebola, and the one that has recently turned our world upside down, COVID-19. Each virus, unique in its structure and method of operation, yet all sharing the common trait of being parasitic intruders in the cells of their hosts. The question of whether viruses are living or non-living has perplexed scientists for years. On one hand, they exhibit characteristics of life, such as the ability to replicate. On the other hand, they lack the ability to metabolize and respond to their environment, features that are hallmarks of living organisms. It's a fascinating debate that continues even today. we delved into the world of plant and animal diseases caused by viruses. Remember the cassava mosaic disease that affects cassava plants? It's caused by a virus and transmitted through whiteflies. On the animal side, we discussed diseases like HIV, Ebola, hepatitis B, and COVID-19, each disease with its unique symptoms, transmission methods, and prevention strategies. While viruses may be small, their impact is anything but. As we continue to study and understand them, we can better protect the world around us from their effects. So let's keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the boundaries of our understanding. Because the more we know about these tiny invaders, the better equipped we'll be to fight them. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to viruses.